Tonight, we're going to be reading some unsettling stories while playing a Minecraft horror mod. I was 8 years old when this happened. I lived in rural Sweden, and I was always the only kid who got off at my bus stop. It was just a gravel road surrounded by forest with a row of mailboxes on the side. My house was about a 10-minute walk from there, completely isolated. One afternoon, I noticed a man standing near the mailboxes. I'd never seen him before. And in a place that small, you know when someone doesn't belong. He was just messing with the boxes, opening them, shifting them around. When the bus pulled away and I started walking home, he began walking behind me. At first, he was just mumbling to himself. I tried to ignore it. I pulled out my Nintendo DS and started playing like I always did. That's when he started talking to me. In this low, strange voice, he kept asking me what I was playing, over and over. I didn't respond at first, but eventually I turned around to answer. When I looked at him, he was staring at me. Not normal staring. His eyes were wide. His face was completely blank. His head was tilted slightly to the side and he was rapidly shaking it back and forth. Like something was wrong with him. That was the moment I knew that this wasn't normal. I started crying. I don't remember exactly how long it was after that, maybe 20 seconds, but suddenly he sprinted past me and disappeared into the woods. Just like that. I kept walking home and crying and calling for my mum even though she was miles away, and then I heard it. Screaming, somewhere deep in the forest. It wasn't just yelling, it was this distorted sound, like laughing and screaming mixed together. And it turned into something that sounded like pain, then laughing again. It followed me the entire walk home. When I got inside, my parents weren't there yet. I locked every door and hid in the bathroom until they came back. I told them what happened. I don't even know if it was ever reported. But to the man at the bus stop, let's not meet again. I work at a small bookstore. It's usually quiet and peaceful. I actually love my job. But I'm terrified to clock in tomorrow. Earlier today, I was reorganizing a shelf when one of my co-workers walked up to me and said a man had asked to borrow a pen and paper. She told me he gave her a strange feeling. I didn't think much of it. Customers ask for things all the time. About 10 minutes later, I went up to the register to chat with her. The moment she saw me, her expression changed. She looked serious, almost alarmed, and said quietly, "Go in the back, now, I'll explain later." I didn't ask questions, I just went. A few minutes later, she came into the stockroom, shut the door behind her, and handed me a folded sheet of paper. "That guy," she said, "he said he's in love with you. He left this." The paper had a strange drawing on it, something dark and chaotic. It looked almost satanic. I couldn't tell what it was supposed to be. There were crosses and pentagrams drawn all around it. Beneath the drawing was writing, but most of it was barely legible. Distorted letters, symbols mixed in with words. I could make out a few things. He said he was in love with me. He said he wanted to get to know me. He mentioned a belt with crosses that I own. I wasn't even wearing it that day, which means he's seen me before. Somewhere in the mess of the writing, I could also read the words Queen and Flames and a sentence in Spanish. Te quiero para siempre. I don't even live in a Spanish-speaking country. The rest was gibberish, symbols, scattered phrases. It felt obsessive, delusional. My coworker told me he said he'd be coming back to ask for my phone number. At that point, my hands were shaking. We don't have any security in our store. I called my manager, who wasn't working that shift. She told me he probably wouldn't do anything, and if he came back, I should just stay in the back while my coworkers tell him I'm not interested. But I don't feel safe. I'm angry, too. I know he's probably mentally unwell, but I'm the one who has to be scared to go into work now. I'm the one who has to watch the door and wonder if he'll walk in. Update. The assistant manager came in today and pulled the security footage with me. He looks about 40. I'm 22. He's dressed strangely, not just eccentric, but unsettling. In the footage, you can also see him suddenly change direction and move quickly towards me as I walk toward the back room. I never noticed him behind me. He almost caught up. When he realized I was gone, he went to my coworker and started asking questions about me. She lied and told him my shift had ended and that I had already gone home. He didn't leave. He stood near the stockroom door for almost 10 minutes, just waiting. I have no idea what he would have done if I planned to come back out. And tomorrow, I have to walk back into that store. This happened 18 years ago. It was 6:12 in the morning. Still dark, still cold. My partner and I were dispatched to a farm at the edge of town. Police had reported multiple wounded, no further details. When we arrived, 2 squad cars were parked outside the farmhouse, lights still flashing, no officers. The front door was open. There was blood on the porch, a lot of it. I'd been in the field for over a year by then. Car wrecks, shootings, even a triple homicide. I wasn't new to ugly scenes, but something about this felt wrong. The house was completely dark, no power, no sound. The blood trail led inside and up the stairs. We announced ourselves, no response. Then, we heard it. A slow, heavy dragging sound from upstairs. Like something large being pulled across the wood. We looked at each other. Nobody wanted to move, but we climbed. The stairs were slick with blood, thick and fresh. Halfway up, a hand appeared at the top step. A police officer. He was dragging himself toward us. His lower half was gone. He locked eyes with me and said, through clenched teeth, "Get out, before it sees you." I ignored him. Training kicks in before fear does. He pulled him back from the stairwell while I looked past him. There was a second set of stairs leading up to the attic, and from above, there were sounds. Wet, heavy, and rhythmic, like something feeding. The hallway at the attic was scratched up. Gouges in the walls, splintered wood, and blood everywhere. I started up the attic steps alone. I don't know why. I just felt like someone was alive up there. The sounds got clearer as I climbed. Low grunts, a tearing noise. Then, something shifted, something big. Right as I reached the top step, shouting erupted downstairs, boots pounding, doors slamming open. Men in tactical gear stormed in. Not local SWAT, not uniforms I recognized. Military weapons, no badges. They forced us downstairs and demanded, "Where is it?" Not who. It. I pointed toward the attic. They went up. From the bottom floor, we heard gunfire. Not a few shots, sustained gunfire. And something else. A scream that didn't sound human. We were pushed outside as the sun started to rise. Men in suits arrived shortly after, calm and detached like this was routine. 7 bodies were carried out. None of them were intact. We were questioned and told to say nothing. I never saw what was in the attic, but I was one step away from it. If that team had arrived 30 seconds later, I probably wouldn't be telling the story. And sometimes I still wonder, what did they kill up there? I'm in my 50s now, and I only recently told my sister why I was so overprotective when we were kids. This happened sometime in the mid-80s. I was 12 and my sister was 9. Every day we walked home from school along the same route. We knew it by heart. But even now, 40 years later, I remember the exact moment the hair on my arm stood up. We were halfway home when I noticed an older man sitting by the side of the road repairing shoes. At least, that's what it looked like he was doing, just sitting there working quietly. My sister was a lively kid, always talking, always smiling. She was beautiful too, the kind of kid people always noticed. She was beautiful too, the kind of kid people always noticed, and he noticed her. The way he looked at her sent this cold feeling through my chest. It's hard to explain, but sometimes you just know when something is wrong. We walked past him. A few seconds later, I looked behind us. He was following. Not rushing, just walking at a steady pace, keeping the same distance. My sister didn't notice a thing. She was chatting about school, swinging her backpack, completely oblivious. But I knew if we turned onto our street, we'd be alone. It was quiet, lined with trees, and nobody was usually around at that time. Right before the turn, there was a small local restaurant. Without explaining anything, I grabbed my sister's arm and pulled her inside. We didn't order any food. I led her straight down a narrow hallway near the restrooms and kept my hand on her shoulder, silently telling her to stay quiet. She was confused and whispered complaints about being hungry and wanting to go home, but I didn't answer. I just waited. After about 30 seconds, I peeked through the window. The man walked past the restaurant. Then he stopped. He stood there on the sidewalk, slowly looking up and down the street, like he just lost something he was expecting to see. He looked frustrated. He stayed there for what felt like forever, but was only probably a couple of minutes. Then, he finally walked away. We waited a long time before leaving. After that day, I refused to take that route home ever again. I made us walk 2 blocks out of the way, and I never let her wander more than an arm's length from me. Last week, we were talking about childhood memories. She asked why I was always so bossy and paranoid about her going anywhere alone. So I finally told her. The look on her face told me everything. She had no idea she had ever been in danger. I'm 55 now, and every time I pass that street, I still get the same chills. When I was a kid, my parents used to let me walk home from school all by myself. It was a small town, and my route was simple. 3 streets, 1 park, then my house at the end of the block. I walked that same way every day for years. There was one thing I always noticed though, a car. It was an old blue sedan that would sometimes be parked along my route. Not every day, but often enough that I started to recognize it. At first, I didn't think much of it. Small towns usually means you see the same cars all the time. But after a while, I noticed something strange. It was always parked in the direction I was walking. One day it would be near the park. Another day it would be halfway down the street near the grocery store. But it was always along my route home, and it was facing the same way I was walking. I remember once slowing down to tie my shoe. The car slowly rolled forward, maybe 10 feet, then it stopped again. I never saw the driver clearly. The windows were tinted and the sun would reflect off the windshield, so I just kept walking. I never told my parents. I figured it was probably nothing. Eventually, the car stopped showing up. Weeks passed, then months, and I forgot about it. Years later, when I was around 17 years old, my parents and I were watching the news. There was a story about a man who had just been arrested in a nearby town. He had been stalking children walking home from school for years. They showed a picture of the car they had seized, an old blue sedan. My dad immediately said, "I swear I've seen that car around here before." I didn't say anything, but I knew exactly where I'd seen it. I still live in that same town now, and sometimes when I walk past that park, I still catch myself checking the street behind me.